Centuries ago, they ruled the world. Today, they live again. The forgotten faces of royalty, brought back to life. Princess Alice was the last surviving grandchild of Queen Victoria. Consuelo Vanderbilt was an American heiress pushed into a loveless marriage with British nobility, but she later became a powerful voice for social reform and women's rights across Europe. Queen Wilhelmina ruled the Netherlands during both world wars, standing firm in exile and returning home as a national symbol of resilience, loyalty, and unwavering patriotism. George V led Britain through the First World War and modernized the monarchy, turning the royal family into a steady presence during one of the most volatile eras in history. Cecilia was a German duchess and the daughter-in-law of the last German emperor, admired for her poise and dignity as empires fell and Europe descended into chaos. Princess Alice, born deaf, lived an extraordinary life, becoming a nun, sheltering Jews during the Holocaust, and raising a son who would later marry the future Queen Elisabeth II. King Alfonso was born a monarch and faced unrest, assassination attempts, and exile. His reign marked the slow unraveling of Spain's monarchy during a time of revolution. Queen Alexandra, born a Danish princess, became a beloved queen consort of Britain, known for her charm, charity work, and her ability to win the hearts of the public despite personal tragedy. King Oscar was the last monarch to rule both Sweden and Norway, a scholarly and poetic ruler who presided over a delicate union and the growing wave of nationalism in Scandinavia. Tsarina Alexandra was the deeply religious and tragic Empress of Russia, whose devotion to Rasputin and isolation from the people played a part in the empire's catastrophic collapse. Princess Kayulani, raised in Europe but heir to the Hawaiian throne, fought with eloquence against the American annexation of her kingdom before dying tragically young. King Kalakaua was Hawaii's last reigning king, remembered for reviving native traditions, hosting royal tours, and striving to protect his people's sovereignty through diplomacy. Grand Duchess Olga, born in Russia, became Queen of Greece and devoted herself to nursing, charity, and serving two nations through war, exile, and immense political change. Queen Victoria. Eugenia, granddaughter of Queen Victoria, brought British grace to Spain but endured personal tragedy, exile, and the trauma of civil war that tore her country apart. Nicholas II was Russia's last Tsar, a gentle and loving family man unfit for the brutal politics of his time, whose downfall marked the end of Imperial Russia forever. Queen Liliuokalani was the last sovereign monarch of Hawaii, a poet and composer who fought for her people's independence through words and unyielding dignity. Princess Victoria Louise was the only daughter of Kaiser Wilhelm II, whose grand wedding became the final gathering of Europe's royals before the world plunged into war. King Constantine ruled during one of Greece's most unstable periods. Repeatedly exiled and recalled, his reign was shaped by war, scandal, and political turmoil. Queen Sophie, sister of the German Kaiser and Queen of Greece, struggled with her loyalties during World War I and lived much of her life in and out of exile. Queen Emma was a devoted Hawaiian royal who championed public health and built hospitals, striving to shield her people from disease and foreign domination. King Christian was known as the father-in-law of Europe, with his children marrying into nearly every royal family, tying Denmark to the heart of European politics. Empress Elisabeth, known as Sisi, was a restless spirit trapped by the rules of court life, famed for her beauty, poetry, and tragic assassination in Geneva. Prince Henry, brother of the German Kaiser, was a naval leader who sought peace through diplomacy, admired for his intelligence and modern thinking. Maria Feodorovna, born a Danish princess, became Empress of Russia and mother of the last Tsar, losing her empire but never her imperial pride. Princess Like was a Hawaiian royal, composer, and educator who enriched her nation's cultural life and left behind a legacy of music and memory. Queen Marie was born in Britain, but became a beloved Romanian icon, known for her bravery in World War I and her powerful presence on the world stage. Rudolf was heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, but his tragic death in a scandalous murder-suicide shook the empire and helped set the stage for its eventual collapse. Queen Mary was a symbol of strength and tradition during Britain's turbulent 20th century, devoted to duty, formality, and preserving the royal image through war and change. Princess Alice lived for more than a century, witnessing the fall of empires, 2 world wars, and the transformation of monarchy, always calm, elegant, and quietly formidable. Prince Leopold was the youngest son of Queen Victoria, brilliant and artistic, but plagued by hemophilia. His early death was one of many tragedies in the royal bloodline. Queen Kapiolani was a devoted Hawaiian queen who focused on healthcare, especially for women and children, during a time of growing foreign influence and political upheaval. Anita de Braganza was an American heiress who married into European royalty, living a life of luxury, scandal, and transformation as old world nobility met modern ambition. Abigail Campbell Kawananakoa was a Hawaiian royal and politician who became a key figure in preserving native identity while navigating the Americanization of the islands. Princess Beatrice, youngest daughter of Queen Victoria, devoted her life to her mother's service and to carefully preserving the royal legacy across generations. Queen Emma of Waldeck and Pyrmont became Queen of the Netherlands and regent for her daughter, a wise and composed figure during a pivotal time in Dutch history. Queen Victoria reigned longer than any monarch before her, overseeing a vast empire and leaving behind a legacy that shaped modern Britain, for better and for worse. Wallis Simpson was the American divorcee who changed the British monarchy forever, becoming Duchess of Windsor after King Edward abdicated for love. Prince Albert was the devoted husband of Queen Victoria, a reformer and visionary whose early death left a permanent shadow over the rest of her long reign. Grand Duchess Olga was the oldest daughter of Nicholas II, remembered for her intelligence, compassion, and tragic fate during the fall of the Romanov dynasty. Edward VII waited decades to become king, but reigned with charm and diplomacy, helping redefine the monarchy for the modern age after the rigid Victorian era. Princess Stephanie of Belgium married into the Austrian Empire and lived a life filled with heartbreak, scandal, and survival after the death of her husband, Crown Prince Rudolf. Princess Margaret of Connaught was a British royal who married the future King of Sweden. Known for her beauty, charm, and modern spirit, she helped reshape royal life abroad before dying tragically young. Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon became the Queen Mother of Britain, beloved for her courage during World War II and her role in stabilizing the royal family during turbulent times. Albert Victor, heir to the British throne, was known for his charm, but plagued by rumors, illness, and mystery. His early death left the monarchy at a crossroads. Princess Victoria Melita was a fiery and unconventional royal who defied expectations with multiple marriages and a life split between Britain, Germany, and Russia. Princess Fawzia of Egypt was one of the most beautiful royals of her time, a modern, Western-educated princess who became Queen of Iran but escaped an unhappy court life.